Hi there, tarot lovers. So, our card of the day today is the reversed Queen of Swords. So, this queen sits on her throne in the clouds with her sword very upright. She's very clear, very clever, very smart, very mental, as most of the Court of Swords are. And this is the Shadow Queen because she's upside down. And the Shadow Queen has more of the negative qualities of the Court of and the Suit of Swords, and she is very much stuck in her mind, as most of this court are when they're reversed like this. She's very much addicted to thinking. She's very stuck in her way of thinking and the belief systems that she holds. She finds it very difficult to change her mind. She's a little bit stubborn, and she uses her mind as a go-to quite often to avoid feeling. And there could be some pain inside that we are really avoiding to feel. We're not really wanting to go to, and we're running around in our heads trying to find answers and trying to figure things out inside of our mind, and when the mind isn't necessarily the best tool to figure out the solutions to the problems we might be having. And so this queen asks us to step into our feelings, asks us to feel some stories that might need to be felt, asks us to shut our mind off and just see if we can't get some inspiration and some answers from a different level of consciousness that's not going to be through this mental power of figuring things out, which she's amazingly good at on one front, but she can be a little bit excessive and a little bit stuck in having to know and trying to be right and all of those things. So this is a queen that her mind, because she's so stuck intellectually inside of herself, it makes it very difficult for her to be objective in many ways, and she sees a life through the lens of a very subjective way of thinking. When we're stuck in our heads this way, one of the harshest realities we experience is a strong inner critic, and she will be quite critical, self-judgmental, and that will be her downfall on many fronts. It will be where her low self-esteem comes through. It'll be what creates a stronger insecurities in her life, and she will attract people also that are going to be a little bit critical towards her, because this inner critic wants to be seen, wants to be heard, it wants to be felt, because there's some pain there behind this criticism. There's some inner pain which needs to be embraced, and the queen hides from that pain with her intellect, and she sticks and stays in this more cold masculine element, and she can be a little bit cold-hearted. Part of her work is to find compassion for herself and compassion for other people, and very simply just to allow herself to be more sensitive and allow herself to be more vulnerable. She thinks she has to be the ice queen, the one that's always strong and the one that's always clear, and she has a very judgmental attitude towards some of her emotions, which doesn't help her become more empathic and sensitive, and it doesn't help her really deal with the stories that are most important for her to deal with. So this is a queen that is a little bit rigid and needs us to find a little bit more flexibility. Inside of her flexibility is where her true strength is, and she has that capability, but for some reason there's a blockage, and there is something which is really trapped her in some old pattern and some old way of thinking, and it's very difficult for her to get out of this way of thinking, and this is a challenge for her. If she looks at it as a challenge, then she'll probably really enjoy that, because she likes a good challenge. But this isn't a mental one, this is a challenge to step out of her mind, and that is the hardest thing for her to do, because she finds safety in the intellect, where in her reason, because it's always been her best ally. And yet in this moment, when the Shadow Queen comes along, it's not her ally at all, it's her worst enemy, and it will cause her to stagnate in life and to stop growing and stop seeing more beauty in life and more beauty in herself. So that's a great practice to do, to practice looking at how amazing, wonderful life is, and take our attention inside and recognize our own inner beauty, and feel a little bit of compassion for our mistakes, feel compassion for the pain and the hurt that we hold inside, and maybe some of the old traumas that need to be revisited. Maybe it's time to open up our hearts and be vulnerable and allow some of that experience to come in on a more emotional level. I wish you all a fantastic day. I hope this has been a useful message for you to find some compassion, a little bit more love, become more aware of that inner critic if her voice is becoming a little bit loud for you in your life, and understand that there's some pain there that needs to be processed and needs to be really worked through and felt, and behind our inner criticism is just a trauma or two that we don't need to dwell on, we don't need to hold on to forever, but we do need to revisit. We do need to understand the beauty and the lesson behind it and move on from it. All my love, and I hope you have a great day.